All right, thanks for staying with us. Now, a governorship aspirant, as I stated earlier, on the platform of the People's Democratic Party in Ondo State, Adeolu Akinwumi, has rejected the adoption of a consensus candidate by some leaders of the party in the state ahead of next month's primary election. Now, the aspirant advised the leaders of the party to be fair to all aspirants and give all aspirants a platform to contest on the platform of the party, and make it a free and fair primary. Now, Adeolu Akinwumi joins me in the studio to discuss preparations for the party primaries on the platform of the PDP in Ondo State. Good to have you join us.
Hello, Precious. Good afternoon. How are you?
Good afternoon. I'm very well. But let me state that you were the first person to pick your party nomination form, and that was, why did you went straight for it as it was announced?
Okay, Precious. I think that's, to a very large extent, attests to the fact that I have been fully determined and prepared to take up this assignment. I've always said, and I have no doubt about it, that leadership is a calling, and it takes a lot to aspire for a position such as the exalted office of the Governor of Ondo State. I started in the race early enough, as early as April 2023, shortly after the presidential elections and the National Assembly elections in Ondo State. And I have tenaciously pursued this vision, and I have at every point in time demonstrated the fact that I mean well for the state. There's sincerity of purpose in my aspiration, and that is why I tag the aspiration a clear vision and a very trustworthy mission.
I know you said you started this race in 2023, but in terms of this journey to becoming, this aspiration to become the governor of Ondo State, when did this actually begin?
I have lived with this aspiration almost all my life, at least when I came of age to understand the fact that I could actually begin to develop my goals in life. I have been in politics for an appreciable period of time. That is against the backdrop that I come from a very diverse field. I'm an engineer by training, and I practice as a management consultant, engineering management consultant. But I've been in politics for an appreciable period of time, and I've been in the PDP as a member of this party for an appreciable period of time. I know the PDP so well. I know the PDP in and out. I know the tenets of the party. I understand the principles of the party. I can resonate with the ideology of the party. And I decided that I'm going to live through this aspiration, and I have consistently been a member of the PDP. So what that means is that I have actually taken time to understand the party, to grow with the party, and this time around, these are the greatest moments of my life, bringing out this aspiration. So it's something I have meticulously developed myself through all my adulthood in terms of competence, in terms of character, in terms of training, in terms of integrity. I have built a personality deserving of the office of the Governor of Ondo State.
For some people will say, look, it is basically just the power of the office that drives them. When you hear them talk and you hear them, their policies, you realize that sometimes it's quite empty, and it's just because they want to answer the name governor. For you, what exactly is driving you? My greatest passion as an individual has been serving humanity, and I think that this is the apogee of service to humanity. You need to understand that as a people, our actions, our goals, our achievements in life are actually determined by a few set of people, and these are the people we actually elect to govern us. So that underscores the importance of governance. And I believe that I have a role to play in our nation building process, particularly my state, Ondo State. And I come from a state that is so richly blessed. I come from a state that has abundance of resources. And I think Ondo State has no business with poverty. And I think every child in Ondo State should be well educated. And I think that the things that provide affordable, decent living are things that should be on our palms in Ondo State. We only get to achieve all of these things when we elect the right set of leaders. Yes, people like to be called His Excellency and everything, but I keep saying something. The richest Nigerians are not governors. The most comfortable Nigerians are not governors. So it's not just about the office. There are people that even live larger than the lives of even the so-called governors. So it's not about that one. It's about service to the people. But not everybody has that sincerity of purpose to serve. I do. For a fact, I can only speak for myself. I can't speak for anyone. And I think that puts me at the most advantaged position to be the best governor that Ondo State is yet to have. And moreover, we are actually going through very trying times as a country, and everyone feels the heat of what we're going through as a nation. So it's not a question of I have no business in politics. Everybody can be a politician, but the fact is that some people just have to offer themselves for service.
And the people you're running against in your party to clinch this ticket are also not small names. When you look at, I just don't want to mention the names, but you look at the fact that they are not also babies, in politics as well. So I'm asking you what your chances are when you look at the quality of people you're running against.
Okay, thank you. This brings me to an interesting point. We went for the screening of the governorship aspirants by our party in Abuja, and the chairman of the screening panel asked me this question: "That young man, you have demonstrated that you have been a very loyal party member. I don't have any reason to doubt you. But in all these years of your loyalty, assuming you don't clinch the ticket of the party, what's going to happen?" I told him, sir, I said, "I've never doubted for once that I won't win. I'm going to be the candidate of the party by the special grace of God. I don't have a godfather. I only have God on my side, and I have the people on my side." And it's not about names. Even these names were given opportunities. That's why I think they have a very robust political portfolio. It's not about the name. It's not about the stature. It's about someone who is determined, someone who has sincerity of purpose, someone who is clear about his vision, someone who understands the performance gaps in governance. I understand my state. I have lived with the people for an unbroken period of over 15 years. I know what the problems are in Ondo State. I know the body language of the people. I know the yearnings of the people. I know when the people are smiling. I know when the people are unhappy, because I live with them. I'm one of them. I'm an individual of the state. So I have no doubts about the fact that we have competent aspirants in the PDP. There's no doubt about that. But one certainly would stand out, and I'm the one that stands out among them.
Do you live in the state when during elections or off-cycle periods as well? Because we know politicians who say, "Oh, I have lived in the state, I know the state," but when it's not time for elections, they're either in Lagos or Abuja.
I'm fully resident in Ondo State. I live in Ondo State. I live in Akure, precisely the state capital. And I have lived there for well over 15 years. I just came in from Akure, for a fact.
So with that understanding, or with that experience of living in the state for, you said, unbroken period of
15 years.
15 years. Do you understand the greatest need of the people, and what would you say that need is?
I think for me, the greatest challenge is that we don't have an economy in Ondo State. I've always said it. We don't have an economy in Ondo State. It's an entirely government-driven economy. I think the core business is civil service, and it shouldn't be, because we, like I said, we have no business with poverty. There are a lot of things in Ondo State that can actually stimulate the economy. You see, when you have a very viable economy, you have influx of people into the state. When you have influx of people, you have accelerated development. Because when people come in, they need decent houses to live in. Not everybody wants to live in Lagos. People would like to live in a place like Ondo State, as long as their source of livelihood is guaranteed. And when you have people come into a state, because a state can be developed solely by even those that live in the state alone, then you have need for accommodation. You need to expand infrastructure. You need to begin to enhance and upscale social welfare. These are the things that bring development. And I keep saying it, there's something that interests me the most, and that is the fact that we can actually use maritime as a gateway, the blue economy, to developing Ondo State. Not too long ago, we were granted the deep sea port license. But I've always said this, that license will remain as good as it is on that piece of paper where it is, unless there is purposeful efforts to putting it into good use. On those states, we continue to sing along the line that we have the longest coastal line. Yes, we have, but what have we made of it? You need to go to the river line now from the state. You see the economic potentials in the states. But the only reason why that will change is once you have a leader that believes that we must not go cap in hand all the time to Abuja. We must begin to approach governance from the perspective of zero allocation, that nothing is going to come from Abuja. How can we look inwards to develop the state? And before you know it, we'll be there.
The former governor, before his death, was largely praised for his strides in that state. Are you saying there is no development in this regard at all?
I won't say so, because I live in the state. You see, it's an ongoing concern. Governance is an ongoing concern. I will appreciate what they have done, even if I might have reasons to criticize a few things. But the truth is that he has done his best. Someone else has assumed the mantle of leadership of the state. But I also believe that we can do much more better. The former governor, God bless and rest his soul, came with his own vision, and he has done his own best. Someone else is there, and by 25th of April, someone is going to take over on the platform of any of the parties. But my point is that we all approach governance from different perspectives. For me, my perspective is the fact that we need to create prosperity for our people in Ondo State. And you can only create prosperity when you have an economy that gives everybody that role to develop, that gives everybody that role to make good and decent income. But you won't get that if the approach to governance is the sorts of governance being paraded now. Governance goes beyond the comedy skit. It's not just about that tussle for power. That's not what governance is all about. Governance should be felt by the people. At every point in time, people should feel that they have a government looking after their needs. People should feel safe and secured in their own state, and that is what I look up to.
And some people say that, look, some people will say that for all of these things you're talking about, that you will require some level of experience because governance, that experience helps you understand the intricacies and the administrative requirements of that office. And so I want to ask you what your experience is and what your track records are.
I mentioned earlier on that I'm an engineer by training. I graduated from the University of Ibadan where I read electrical and electronics engineering. I graduated some 22 years ago from the University of Ibadan, and I hold a Master of Science degree in Computer Systems Engineering, and I'm also certified in Project Management from the United Kingdom. But besides all of this, I've had the opportunity to have worked actively in the organized private sector, and I've also had a very good shot at public service work. I served under the former governor of Ondo State, Dr. Akinwumi, as special assistant to the governor on administration, and I worked right inside the office of the governor. I understand the rudiments of governance in Ondo State. The civil service structure of Ondo State is something that I have had face-to-face interface with because I worked with the governor, and I have seen the administrative duties of the governor. I understand the MDAs of the state, that's the ministry, departments, and agencies. I know the geography of Ondo State. I know the structure of governance in Ondo State. And moreover, while serving as a special assistant to the governor of Ondo State in the office of the governor, I served in more than 17 state government committees. These are committees started with one responsibility or the other: the implementation of the Bank of Industry Loan Scheme, the Maritourism Initiative. So I have vast experience. But I'll tell you something, it even goes beyond that one. You don't need somebody who has been in public offices before to govern a state very well. There are a lot of sectors in the economy that are driven by young individuals, and they are doing so well. Look at the telecom sectors. Go and look at the drivers of the ideas in those sectors. They are young men. Look at the banking sectors. Go and look at those people that infuse ideas. They are young men. So we don't need to go about that point and keep bragging about the fact that I've been a senator, I've been a that is not it. Because some of these people have nothing to show, even for this portfolio of achievements, political achievements. So it's not essentially beyond that. While I quite understand the fact that experience is key to governance, but that experience has to be cognate. It should not be not everybody will be given the opportunity. Are you telling me now that because maybe you have not been a member of the House of Rep or a commissioner or a special advisor, then you can govern a state? That is not what we're talking about here. What we're talking about is the fact that use your background, use your professional background, use your personal development. How do you use it? How do you aggregate it to bring development to the state? How do you aggregate it to drive ideas to the state? That's what we're talking about here. And moreover, we live in a world that's changing rapidly. We need to understand that. Senegal is a country just like Nigeria is a country. Today we have a 44-year-old man ruling the country. I pray he lives and he does so well as president of Senegal because he represents my own generation. And this is what I have been clamoring for. And I think by the special grace of God, that is what is going to come the way of the good people of Ondo State come February next year.
And you sound so convincing and so sure that you are going to clinch that ticket because you have said that before. And you continue to say that. But what is your popularity level within your party and in Ondo State?
I'm the most popular aspirant of the 7 of them. I'm the most popular because I have been with the party for a very long period of time. I'm the most popular because I have never defected from the party one day. I'm most popular because I have been a very keen, ardent supporter of the party. I'm most popular because I have selflessly served the party, even with personal resources. I'm most popular because I have taken every assignment given to me by the party with every sense of seriousness that it deserves. I'm most popular because I'm a young man, and I drive the idea that we need to give the upcoming generation that opportunity to come and serve. I'm the most popular because I have lived a very decent life with the good people of Ondo State. I'm most popular because I know the state. And again, I'm the most popular because my ideology, the mantra of my campaign, resonates so well with the well-meaning supporters of the People's Democratic Party in Ondo State. So there's no doubt about it, for a fact.
Right, so let's now talk about that People's Democratic Party. There has been controversy about, and you have spoken about it, which is the zoning. At some point, I think it was on the 2nd of March, your party came out and said, party leadership, I think that was the spokesperson of the party, is it Perete?
Kennedy Perete.
Perete. And he said, the party has chosen to go the way of zoning. But just a week after that, we had your National Working Committee in Abuja saying, no, it is not going to be zoned. It's been open for all aspirants, and the process is going to be free and fair. But you have also supported the idea of zoning at some point. So where does the party stand, and where do you stand?
You see, zoning, as it were, is an unwritten arrangement. is just a figment of the permutation of people of the states that, one, there must be fair rotation of power, and every central district of the state should be adequately represented in the game and balance of power. But besides that, you need to understand something, that even zoning on its own, it's something that I want to say has gained a lot of ground in Ondo State, because we have 7 aspirants now already screened and cleared for the primaries of the PDP. The 7 of them are for the Southern Central District of the state. They are in the process of screening that of the APC. But I know for certain that all the aspirants, numbering over 12 in the APC, are all from the Southern Central District on the state. So you understand that it's not like the PDP sat with the APC to say that let us pick the governor from the West Coast, but it is just something that intrinsically has become more or less like a norm, so to say. But as that with the zoning, you talked about the fact that the state working committee said something and something a bit different. You see, in the build-up to this process, just to ensure that we prepare ourselves adequately for the primaries and eventually the general election, and to also ensure that we have a rancor-free process, I really commend the leadership of the PDP. We had several interactions at different strata with stakeholders of the party, and it became almost the most embraced opinion that the governorship ticket of the party should be thrown to the Southern Central District of Ondo State. And I think it was to that effect.
Was that at the state level or national level?
At the state level, yes. All these interactions held at the state level. And to that effect, the state public secretary made that statement that you are actually referring to. But the last interface was with the National Working Committee of the party in Abuja. And they felt otherwise, that yes, there's nothing wrong if the southern part of the state is going to produce the words, but it should not be that it has been zoned to a particular zone. And that was why you could see that there was another statement emanating.
But from what you say, that has been taken care of, because, I mean, all of the candidates, or all of the aspirants rather, are actually now from the same...
I think naturally events have gone past that, because we already have the aspirants vying for the ticket of the party, and the 7 of us were all from the southern part of the state. So more or less, the PDP, the candidate of PDP for a certain is going to emanate from the Southern Central District of Ondo State.
All right, let's talk about the idea also of a consensus candidate, which you objected to. Were there indications that there was going to be a consensus candidate, and where does that stand now?
From certain quarters of the party, with particular reference to certain leaders and elders of the party, they made this proposition that to ensure a rancor-free selection of the party's candidates, that it seems the best way to adopt a consensus candidate. For me, I looked at it. PDP is one party, to my own understanding, that has the healthiest internal democratic processes. And that's one of the reasons why I've aligned and remained with the PDP. And the PDP gives you the opportunity to exercise your aspirations freely. Go through open, free, fair contest. Whoever emerges takes the flag, the ticket of the party, and stands the general election. And I said, no, I don't think that is the best way to go, because it is not something that is good enough to just cut short somebody's aspiration. It takes a lot to aspire, and that's the truth. It takes a lot to aspire. So certain people can't just sit down in the confines of a room and, using their own subjective judgment, determine who the ticket of the party should go to. I said, no. We have a constitution. There are dictates of the constitution. Let us follow the constitution of the party to the letter. It's clearly stated in the constitution of the party. And I made reference to the Edo State's primary election. Edo State and Ondo State, we hold our off-cycle elections, I think, with about 2 months interval. I said, what is good for the goose is good for the gander. If in Edo State, I mean, they went through the process of primary election, select candidate party. So what you change about this? Let the best man emerge through a free, fair process. That's crisis that the intent, or what the intent of their decision was to avert, might even be escalated beyond that. Because when you ask someone to go and sit down and say, this is the person, how do you assuage the person? If you are successful in assuaging the person, what of the supporters of that particular aspirant? So it becomes very tedious, it becomes very messy. And we have done the right thing now. This is the way to go. This is the way it has been in the past. Today we are preparing for primary election. Tomorrow, on Monday, we are going to be having the Congress, the State Congress, where we are going to be ratifying the delegates that will determine who the party's flag bearer is. And everybody is happy, and the party is alive. So that was my stand.
But the candidate who was going to be, or the aspirant who was going to be the consensus candidate, had that person be identified by those people who called the meeting?
Well, Precious, I don't work in the minds of the leaders. So I don't know. I don't know the direction the consensus was heading to. And I was not interested in knowing the direction consensus was heading to. All I was interested in is let us follow the constitution of the party to the letter. And that is what we are doing. So I don't know, and I'm not going to preempt anybody. I don't want to believe it was skewed in favor of any particular aspirant. I don't know. But for me, I just felt that all the leadership of the party needed to do is just to create a level playing ground with fairness and let everybody aspire openly and transparently and let the best man.
But if you were chosen as if there's an opportunity and that conversation is had again and they say, oh, let's pick you as a consensus candidate, would you still have the same opinion to say, oh, let's all go to the field?
I don't want to emerge through that consensus of adoption because I also see the dangers in it. I've told you, you have about people numbering over 5 aspiring for a particular position. What will be the criteria to select? Who are those that will sit down there? How do you even determine those that will sit down there? Because it's alien to the constitution of the party. Then besides that, when they sit down and they want to select a candidate of the party, you're already subjecting that process again to another form of primary election. Because if you have a split decision, they might throw it into a vote. So that is on its own another primary election. And it does not look tidy enough. That is why I said, let us go through the process. As long as the party ensures that the primary election process is open, transparent, then everybody will be fine with the outcome of the party. Then we can come again together as a party and take on the assignment of winning the general election come November 16, 2024.
And I want to quote Governor Seyi Makinde when he said just recently, I think it was after the meeting of the National Working Committee, when he said that the People's Democratic Party lost the 2020 Ondo state governorship election due to disunity and division in the party. Has the party learned its lessons? Because we've seen, even prior to now, some of the issues and some of the divisions and divisive rhetorics within the party, for a period of time. Has your party learned its lessons?
I want to believe that we are in the process of getting it right, whether we like it or not. The experiences from the 2020 general election can't be thrown away because we did not win the election. And obviously, there will always be factors responsible for victory, just as there will be factors responsible for loss in any particular election. We have seen it. We have seen where we did not do so well. We understand the fact even some of the players of 2020 are no longer in the party. We also have people that have joined the party. So the lessons of 2020 will always count as we prepare for 2024. Disunity within the party. I can tell you that the party is getting stronger. There will always be differences because we are human beings. We are not bound to say things all the time from the same perspective. It is normal. Even the APC, they have their myriads of problems in the states and at the national level. It is understandable it's a political party. But nonetheless, I think the ability to bring ourselves together, to define our common goal and work towards that common goal is what is sacrosanct. And that is what we are doing in the PDP as of today.
Some will say that even at the national level, your party still hasn't recovered from the loss of the 2023 general election. Are you running or are you seeking the ticket of a party that can win this election? Some have said that PDP should just, hold off. It's the APC or and maybe another party would emerge, but it is definitely not the PDP because you have not been able to put your house in order and they are not sure that you can win this coming election in Ondo State.
The 2024 gubernatorial election in Ondo State has got nothing to do with the 2023 general elections because several factors played out in 2023 general elections. For example, the PDP had a northern presidential candidate, and the president today, who was candidate of the APC, was from the southern part of Nigeria, particularly the southwest. So these are some of the factors. We had our own internal squabbles, the G5 crisis and everything. But some of these things are not even relevant to the election in Ondo State. The truth of it is this. PDP has ruled Ondo State before. PDP has ruled Ondo State before. PDP has won several elections in Ondo State before. Senate, House of Rep, House of Assembly. So PDP bouncing back to power is not something new in Ondo State. I will tell you something, and it's just a fact. The PDP is stronger than the APC in Ondo State. I have no doubt about that. The PDP is stronger than the APC in Ondo State. It is just for us to bring ourselves together to consolidate on our strengths as a party and go ahead to win the election. And let me just quickly remind you, there's no big deal about defeating the APC. Governor Seyi Makinde that you just made mention of, he defeated the APC roundly in Oyo State in 2019. At a time where President Buhari, APC, was president of the country, at a time where the late Governor Jimobi was the governor of the state APC, Sheyi Makinde won 28 out of 33 local governments in Oyo State in 2019. And this time around, he won 31 out of 33 local governments. The same thing happened in Osun State. In 2019, Governor Adeleke defeated the APC in Osun State. At a time where Aregbesola was the outgoing governor, Buhari was the president, and he was denied that victory. He came around four years after again, and the victory was a rebound. In fact, it was even a more resounding victory. So there's no big deal about defeating an incumbent. If you look at the elections held in March next year, March last year, the governorship elections held across the country, you will see the performance of the PDP. Look at Kaduna. It was a very, 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 very tightly contested election. Look at that of Ogun State between Ladi Adebutu and Dapo Abiodun. It was a fiercely contested election. And that of Ondo State is going to be serious trouncing because the good people of Ondo State are tired of the APC in Ondo State, and that's the truth.
I just want to quickly say that when you said he was denied the victory, again, we'll go with who INEC announced, and it was Oyetola who was announced the winner of that election. I just want to quickly say that. But I also want to say to you, my last question to you would be, do you expect the process, that's the primary, it's April 25th,
yes,
do you expect the process to be free and fair?
It has always been, and I don't expect anything different. We had a very credible primary election in July 2020. That was the last primary election. And again, we're repeating the same process again. PDP is known for its held internal democracy, which I have told you. I don't expect anything less, because to know the eventual outcome of the process, you have to look at the build-up to the end of the process. It has been going very smoothly. We've had several stakeholder interactions. We've had the sale of nomination forms, sale of delegate forms, and all of these things have been going very smoothly. And everything is going to culminate into the primary election of April 25. I don't have any fear about the conduct of that particular exercise, because we have actually interacted with the National Working Committee. They have given us their words. They have given us, and they have also demonstrated their words that it is going to be a very credible exercise. So I have no doubt about it.
Absolutely. Well, we're following the process in Ondo State. I'm sure we'll have you again, depending on the turnout, how that primary turnout. If you do win, we'll have you again. If you don't, we'll also have you again to get your thought. Thank you so much for your time. Governorship aspirant on the platform of the People's Democratic Party in Ondo State, Adeolu Akinwumi. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Precious.